How long into your Marine Corps career did you did the sniper art form kind of start tugging on your shoulder? Like, I think, was it something that you always wanted to do?
Yeah, it was. Going in, I knew I wanted to go either at the time because they were separate, sniper, recon, something like that. I knew I wanted to do something, and I was really drawn towards the sniper side of things because it just always interested me. Hunting, shooting rifles, shooting in general. My grandfather was instrumental in that as well. So when I got there, I went in. At the time, it's very different now as I'm learning because my son is joining. It's very different on how you went in for those things. You didn't go in on contract at that time. When you and I joined, that wasn't a thing.
Yeah, you had to try out, right?
Yeah, you had to go in first. You went in infantry first, and then you either spent some time there. And at the time, like for the snipers and for recon, I believe at the time, I know for snipers, they wouldn't even let you take the Indoc within the battalion before you had a deployment. They wanted you to have a deployment as an infantryman before and have that experience before you could take the screening or the indoctrination.
Yeah, for the audience sake,
the
right?
platoon.
It's the yeah. If you hear Indoc, it's the indoctrination or the screening or selection for the sniper platoon that resides within the overarching infantry battalion.
Yeah. So that was on my mind from Jump Street, like right from get-go. Once I got through boot camp and then ITB, I think they called it something different back then, I don't remember, but infantry training.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get assigned, and I was assigned on the East Coast to 3rd Battalion, 6th Marines. And then once I got there, I stayed there. I did my first deployment, and basically immediately upon return from that deployment, I was waiting to see when the screener was going, when the indocs were going, for both recon and for the snipers, for the stay platoons at the time. It was not an easy road for any of them. I took the recon indoc multiple times. I took the stay indoc at least twice, and it wasn't a matter of not passing. I was passing. The battalion wouldn't let me leave.
Well, and that's interesting. We're going to get to that, but take me through take the audience through the selection process, the indoc for the stay platoon that you ended up being successful at. Not that you weren't on the other ones, but we'll kind of get to that part.
Well, that one, I believe it was 3. They can run them a number of different ways, and you may see them, at least in my experience and my knowledge of it back then and what I remember. Each battalion for like their stay platoons could run their indocs however they saw fit.
Very autonomous, right?
So
everyone did it a slightly different.
Yep, it could be 1 day, it could be 3 days, it could be as long and hard as they wanted until they got the numbers or saw what they needed to see to bring guys, and for whatever number of guys they needed to bring on to the platoon at the time. Mine was 3 to 4 days long, and right off of the bat, I want to say there were about, I don't know, between 20 and 30 of us there that showed up first morning with all your kit, the gear list, and all that lined up. And then they have the platoon sergeant for the sniper platoon, and then a number of the senior guys that are going to be there, senior guys and senior snipers in the platoon that are going to run the indoc. And you kind of know what you're getting into, or at least I knew what I was getting into as far as roughly what the indoc looks like. Like, I know I'm going to be tired. I know they're going to be just crushing our souls and see how many guys quit, essentially. Well, they told us right off the bat. The staff sergeant at the time was like, we're going to keep going until enough of you quit and we're down to the numbers I need. So I'm like, oh,
sick.
It's going to be like that.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know. It was one of those things that you went in and I'm like, I think it's going to be the weekend. Like, it's going to be Saturday, Sunday, and then by the end of the day, Sunday, we're going to kind of know they're going to pick and what.
You're talking to yourself, there's no way they can go through the weekend.
I was wrong.
Yeah.
I was wrong.
Yeah.
We went for a while. Like, it was grueling. It was horrible. And my memory's not the greatest. I mean, I do remember it. There's certain things I can picture in my mind very, very vividly, and there's others that I'm like, man, that was a blur. But it was basically physically, you're going to put on our super heavy ruck, you're going to carry all your gear, and you're going to ruck forever. And certain people fall off then. Then you're going to go right into the night, and they're going to test your navigation, right? So we're going to get land nav points, you're going to plot those points, you're going to go run them until we say stop. And then the next day, we're going to do some more physical events. And all along, there was a lot of rucking. right? A lot of ruck marching. And along the way, you would just stop and get thrashed in some way, shape, or form, right? Some kind of physical punishment on the side of the road or the side of the trail, and then pick your stuff up. And literally, we're going to keep doing this until I get enough. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, you start watching them fall off one by one. Or if you're not getting the land nav points, right? If you're not hitting your points, then we're releasing you. And they didn't need a reason. This wasn't like sniper school or some of the other formal schools where there's standards that you have to meet. Like,
Oh, sure.
Here's your test.
Yep.
Like I don't like the way you're looking right now.
Yeah.
Like, you're not strong. We're going to let you go. Sorry. Or why weren't you helping out that other guy over there with this? We're going to let you go. It was just onesie, twosies, disappear until we got into like day 3.5, getting into day 4. We were down to about 6 guys, and that was that. He was like, okay, we're done.
Was it, did you guys get sleep and chow?
Not a lot of sleep, and you'd get handed an MRE when they saw fit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you were hungry and tired for sure. There was not much sleep. And if and when we got sleep, it was sometime you'd finish up like a night land navigation or a night patrol or something like that and be like, you guys got 60 minutes to do whatever you needed. So that if that was, and you could afford to get sleep, great. If that was, I got to air my feet out, I got to do something to.
And they're watching, right? And I think it's important to kind of paint that picture for the audience because not only like they give you that option, but they don't really tell you. And obviously everything is kind of by design. And when I say by design, either on accident or on purpose, and I know that sounds ridiculous, like because half of the cadre is probably looking at the, okay, we gave them 60 minutes, who's going to use it for sleep?
Right.
And the other half is going to be like, okay, we gave them 60 minutes, who's going to use it for sleep and paint that in a negative light? You know what I'm? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And you, as the candidate, so to speak, you don't know what the fucking right answer is.
Right.
So, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's incredibly stressful.
Yep. And some of that stuff is, we're going to give you 60 minutes, or like day 2, if I remember correctly, we had like 3 hours where it was like, we're going to leave you alone for 3 hours, but you also had some land nav points. You had things as far as planning goes that also needed to get done in that time.
Let's
so
see,
you can use
right.
these 3 hours as you see fit, but
There's a right answer, and we're watching.
That's right.
And you don't know what that answer is.
it was beat in from the very beginning. Always assume you are under observation because you are. In some way, shape, or form, while you're rucking, everything is being observed by some member or members of the cadre, and some of it's just to see how you react. Like some of it is, hey, pick your rucks up. We're going to do a 15-mile march. Well, you might only be doing actually doing a mile. They just want to see the expression on your face
100%.
when I tell you we're about to go 15 more miles. Because last day it was the same way. You don't know if you're done or not, but by day 3 going into day 4, we were hurting. I don't care who you were hurting in some way, shape, or form. And I mean physically, mentally, blisters, skin coming off the feet, you know what I mean? Like all of it is happening. You're done.
Yeah, you're smoked.
And I remember the staffs aren't being like, all right, guys, ruck up. You know, we got to go from this point to this point. And it was a long way. And they just want to see what your reaction is.
Right.
Like the right answer is you pick your ruck up, you throw it on your back, and you start walking.
Yeah.
And you keep going. They just want to see, is there going to be that
a
any
loss
kind
of
of
bearing.
reaction
Yeah,
like
a
that?
loss of bearing.
Because we didn't end up going. We went 10 steps down the road. They're like, drop your rucks, we're done.
Yeah, dude. We did, and I think it is so fascinating being on both sides of it, right? The psychological manipulation,
Yep.
right? And so it's like, and I went through a similar thing where I had showed up to the platoon, and it was like, I'll call it mid-cycle. Like basically the sergeant major of the battalion was just like, can you shoot when I showed up, when I checked in? And I was like, well, I was the honor graduate out of my designated marksmanship school. He was like, you're going to snipers. Well, there was no Indoc plan. There was no, like, I just got shoved in there, right? Well, you can imagine how that went over with some of the members of the platoon, right? But we ended up doing an Indoc-esque. There was what was called the CAF Ready Challenge, which was based off a Medal of Honor winner. So think like I don't know, I can't remember if it was 52 or 60 miles over the course of X amount of days, you know what I mean? And I got thrown right into that. Like T-Day 2, like there's the hooch, you're in the platoon, hey, tomorrow we're going to do this
Now
thing.
this is happening.
Right? And I'm like, I don't know whether to shit or go blind, right? And so all I know is, okay, this is just what these guys do, right? I mean, I literally, coming from my old unit, I didn't have any idea.
Yeah.
Well, my feet fell, I mean, basically my feet were gone. Obviously we finished it. Our team ended up winning it, which was cool. But the next weekend, or that next, that's like ends on a Friday, and the following Monday is the Indoc.
Okay.
So here I am, I'm on light duty for a week because my feet are just, gone, and crutches, the whole 9 yards. And the platoon sergeant knocks on my door on Sunday morning, and says, "Are you going to be ready to go on Monday?" And I'd be lying if I was like, I said, because he looked down at my feet, but he just wanted to see what my reaction was. And I said, "Yeah, I'll be ready to go." He's like, "How are you going to do it?" I said, "I don't care. I'll duct tape him. I don't care."
Yeah.
And that was all he needed to hear, right? He just wanted to see my reaction, and so it's almost more psychological than it is physical.
It is.
Right?